Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. And today we have a phenomenal guest, a gentleman that I've worked with before. He's spoken with me. He's a true expert. And so let me give him a quick intro for those of you that may not have seen one of his 25 books that he's already got out. Dr. Noah St. John, he's known as the father of affirmations. You probably have even heard me talk about him in the past. And also the mental health coach to the stars. He works with Hollywood celebrities, 7 to 8 figure CEOs, professional athletes. You know, he's famous for helping people make more money in just 12 weeks than they've made in the last 12 months. And a lot of it is your mindset, as you guys know. But he's the author of 25 books and The 7-Figure Machine, the ultimate roadmap to endless earnings and financial freedom. So welcome to the show, Noah. How are you?
Great to be back. Yeah, seeing you again, George. It's been a while.
Yeah, it is. It is. And man, I tell you, I'm so excited because, you know, there's a lot of authors and experts out there nowadays with AI and everything going on, but very few have actually done what you've done. And very few, you know, a lot of people can talk about it, but even fewer can actually help people do it. And you know, your proven track record obviously speaks for itself. So I'm curious, you know, and maybe, you know what, before I jump into it, why don't you give people just a couple of background points on where you came from? Because you're just already at this elevated authority level, but where did you come from? Give them the backstory.
Well, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and I know that's a total cliche, but it's true. I grew up in this little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which is one of the wealthiest communities in New England, but my family was dirt poor. And I mean that literally because we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure when I was just 15 years old.
Oh,
So, you know, you hear motivational speakers, they'll get on stage all the time. They'll say, well, we were poor, but we were happy. We didn't know we were poor. Well, in my family, we freaking knew we were poor. And my mother, bless her heart, reminded us every day that we were poor and miserable. So no, it wasn't happy. It sucked. And so from a very young age, I was painfully exposed to the gap, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else in the community. The have-nots was my family. And so
yeah.
I hated being poor. I just hated that life of poverty, fear, lack, not enoughness. That's what I grew up with because I saw that right down the street, there's great wealth and abundance. So I said from the time I was a little kid, how the heck can I get from here to there? And of course, you know, there's no one who can help me. There was no internet back then, or all the things we have today. So I did the only thing I could think of, which is I went to the library and I read every book in the self-help section. I just read every book, you know, the classics, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Stephen Covey, and I just immersed myself in that success literature. And I really worked hard. I tried to make it work, but as hard as I tried, as hard as I worked, I just couldn't seem to get it to work. And so at the age of 25, I was so frustrated. I've been working so hard, but I was in these dead end jobs. My girlfriend left me. I mean, it was like a country song, you know, but it was really true. And I decided to take my own life at age 25. I decided to commit suicide. So at the very last moment, my life was spared, but I didn't know why. And so I
Mm,
said, I got to find out what is my purpose here on the earth? Why am I here? You know, these questions that humans have been asking for, you know, centuries. And so
yeah.
I didn't know how to answer that question. So I said, okay, I got to go back to the library. So I did. I went back to the library. This time I read every book in the spiritual section and I studied that. I just immersed myself in that literature. Then fast forward 5 years later, in 1997, I had these epiphanies when I realized exactly what was missing in all those books and all those seminars I spent all those years going to, and no one was talking about it. And I realized, aha, this is my message, my purpose. And so I wrote my first book, which was called Permission to Succeed.
Mm.
And it was subsequently published by the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. And now, all these years later, I'm actually the only author in history, the only person who has had works published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mind Valley, Nightingale Conant, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. No one else in history has ever done that. I'm the only one. And so, you know,
Yeah.
now we have, as you mentioned, 25 books, and, you know, we've helped our clients add over $3 billion collectively, meaning we've helped,
Yeah.
you know, entrepreneurs, chiropractors, health professionals, network marketing professionals, wealth managers, investors to add literally over 6 figures, 7 figures, and even 8 figures using my methods. And so, as you mentioned, you know, I am known as the breakthrough coach, you know, the person who helps people to make more in just 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while actually winning their lives back. And that is really, really exciting. So, you know, when you go to my website, you'll see just hundreds and hundreds of success stories, case studies, And that's
Yeah.
how you know really works.
Well, and what I love about it, and one of the things I'm excited today to talk about, because we're going to get into the seven-figure machine book, meaning we're going to get into some of the strategy. But before we set that up, one of the things that I want our listeners to know is this is why I relate so much to Noah, because at the end of the day, we have very similar backgrounds where we had, different things going on. And by the way, guys, success leaves clues. You notice he said he lived around the wealth even though he wasn't. So he put himself, he was in that environment, so he knew that it was possible. But the other thing is that he really realized that it was more than just, and that's part of what got you and I connected. It was more than just that outer game. It was the inner game as well. And so you're very well known for the fact that mindset becomes a big playing role. And that's why our podcast does a lot about that. But I really want to talk to people today about the fact that you are one of those rare individuals that has found out the real problem holding back is mindset, but you found and ways to get people to break through into the money side. So why did you decide? I mean, look, you've got 25 books, you've been published more than anybody else in all these different areas. What made you decide to do this book, the one we're going to kind of talk about a little today, and we'll weave all the other topics in, Seven-Figure Money Machine? What was the purpose behind that?
Well, when I started my company, successclinic.com, I was living in a 300 square foot basement apartment in Hadley, Massachusetts. I had $800 to my name. I had no money. I had no connections. I had no marketing, no sales, no business skills, no business acumen. The only funnels we had back then were funnel cake, so
Yeah,
it
right.
was very rudimentary. It's like trying to build a house with a rock and some sticks. You know what I mean? So we had nothing. And I really didn't have any resources. But I had that thing that everybody else talks about, which is that resourcefulness. And so I realized that I have this message that I have to bring to the world, that it was my calling, but I don't know how to do it. So, I had to spend what little money I had and invest that in learning how to, make money online, how to put up a website. And then, eventually, what are funnels and how do you make offers and
You
all
learned
this
the hard way.
stuff.
Yeah. Love it.
Everything. Well, the point is that I ended up spending over $500,000 going to
Mm.
all these gurus out there, only to find out that they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. They
Yep.
truly
Yep.
suck at teaching.
Yeah.
Now, what they're great at is they're great at self-promotion and self-marketing.
Yeah.
And that's why, if you notice, when you go to the gurus, you'll see that their main, if not only success story is themselves. That
Yeah.
means, hey, look at my yacht, look at my helicopter, look at my jet. Aren't I awesome? And it's like, well, yeah, you're awesome, dude. Have you helped anyone else make money?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the answer is not so much. So that's what I spent all that money and all that time only to find out, there's no there. So
Well, and I will add to what you just said. A lot of times those individuals, their success came from helping people, not in normal business. And
Right.
you've had that success you learned through business, you're saying, but now you also have that through all these people that you've gone through case studies of helping. So that is a critical element when it comes to finding a mentor or someone that can help you. You really need someone who's not only helped people do it, but has done it themselves, like you're saying.
Exactly. And so the thing that I noticed in this industry is you have two camps, and that is personality-driven success and system-driven success. Now, personality-driven success is exactly what it sounds like. It's based on that person's personality. And the whole question is, well, what if I don't have the personality? Well, then guess what? You're out of luck. And so the point is that can't be taught. You can't, get so-and-so's personality. You can't do that. I mean, you could try to fake it, but it never
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that I needed and paid a lot of money for and never got a system, And so I
Mm.
realized, okay, I guess I got to build. So I created this system that we now call the seven-figure machine. And it is literally a fill in the blank, plug and play, paint by numbers checklist system. I mean, that's what I paid those guys for and never got. I said, well, just tell me what to do. And
Yeah.
it was things like, well, you get your name out there. Yeah, no kidding. I know. How do you do that? Well, put out great content. I know. Yeah, I know that you're not answering the question. So
Yeah.
I get very passionate about it because I
No,
spent so much
yeah.
money. They never answer the question.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what, frankly, my clients say about me. What they love about me is that I am just, here's the checklist. This is
Yes.
what I paid for and never got. Well, I gave it to you, So basically what I teach my clients is my pain is your gain. You're welcome.
So let me ask you a question, and I want to get into the strategy here in a second, but you said something I thought was really cool, and that is I do think a lot of people feel like, man, no, I want to get to that 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure level, but I don't have the personality that you would imagine a CEO high achiever is. Now, I know that as you progress and you have more success, your confidence builds and everything like that. But
Right.
you are saying, right, that the systems are probably as or more important than your innate ability to be able to influence people. Yes?
W. Edwards Deming said many years ago, the famous management guru, he said, "You put a good person in a bad system, and the system will win every time."
Mm,
And I think the reverse is also true. If you put an average person in a good system or great system, the system's still going to win. So the classic example is McDonald's, right?
yeah,
You go to
yeah,
McDonald's, there's no MBAs there, there's
yeah,
no PhDs there. They're,
right.
16-year-old kids,
Average or
and
below average. Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean, they're kids, so,
Yeah.
and their turnover is what, 700% a year? So,
Yep.
I mean, but yet McDonald's is McDonald's. So that's just a classic example. So the point is, what do they have? They have the system. So that's what I've done with the seven-figure machine is I've created, again, I had to do it all myself because
Yes.
those guys were no help. I created the system that, yes, I use myself, but more importantly, that anybody can use. That's why I'd rather brag about my client's success than my success. Because yes, sure, I've made money, I've done well. Who cares? It's about the people that I've helped because that's how you
Right.
know it's a system and that's how you know it works for everybody.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and I'm imagining you're obviously interweaving mindset and things like that into everything you're doing because that's, as we know, probably the most important thing out there. But is it really possible for somebody to do in 12 months, this quickly, like you talk about in the book, to be able to do more in 12 weeks than they've done in the last 12 months? Because I think some people probably feel that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, think about it this way. Building a business is like building a house. All right. So there's a lot of elements to it. There's a lot of things going on there. But here's what happens. Most entrepreneurs wake up in the morning and they go, "Oh man, I need money. I need sales.
Yeah.
I don't have enough money. What do I do?" So they're running around and they're slapping boards together, hoping a house shows up. Okay, that's not how you build a house. I mean, certainly not a good one.
Yeah.
And so the point is, what I have given you in the seven-figure machine is a blueprint, right? That's what you need, right? To build a house effectively, you need a blueprint, right? So
Right.
it's a plan, it's a fill in the blank. So basically, I'm the architect, right? But what's fascinating is that, and I always say this to my clients, whether it's one on one or group coaching, I say, look, it's your house. I'm not going to live in your house. So you shouldn't build something just because someone else said you should do it. I'll give you a
Yeah.
perfect example,
Yeah.
right? There's lots of gurus that say, "Hey, man, if you're not spending money on Facebook ads, then you're a loser." So I've had so many people come to me and they said, "No, I spent all this money on Facebook ads and I lost money." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry that happened. It's happened to me too.
Yeah.
But first of all, what were you sending traffic to?" And they say, "Well, my website." I go, "Okay, well, what's your offer? Like, what's your funnel?" And they say, "Oh, well, I don't have an offer yet. I don't have a funnel yet." I go,
Isn't
"Okay,
that amazing?
it's like there's all you can do in that case is lose money." So do you see what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
perfect example of how the gurus put the cart before the horse, and it worked for them. They already had all this in place. So my job is to kind of back up the truck and say, "All right, let's start here and put everything in place, bum, 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 and then we can have your beautiful house, and it's a heck of a lot easier to live in."
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you're right. I guess we got to give people a little bit of a grace with this because at the end of the day, nobody teaches you this stuff, right? You don't learn. I need to have an offer first, or a strategy, or a message. You don't
Right.
know any of that stuff until you find somebody. And the challenge you have, like you said, with most gurus is not only do they just go skip right to the chase because they probably hooked you on some idea, do my real estate thing, do my thing. But the other
Right.
thing is that a lot of people are busy promoting offers that are their offers, not their own offers. And so it is important that if you want to find something you do in your life, it's got to be something that you're passionate about, that you understand and you're doing. And so I think that's important. I want to highlight and ask you this question. You mentioned it early when we started, but you talked about the idea of something, being able to build this 7-figure machine. And quite honestly, if you're listening to this, I mean, these are the same principles that he uses for 8 and 9-figure machines, right? But
Right.
doing this on autopilot, or is it possible because most people are at that point, and I've been there, where I say, "Oh my gosh, man, growing this thing, I don't have more time in the day. I don't want to have less lifestyle. How do we, because I know you're great at this, how do we create something that grows with more lifestyle, with better lifestyle?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that is one of my big points here because what those guys are talking about is the hustle and grind, right? I call them the hustle bros. And we all know who they are. And they're out there and they're on social media and saying, hey, man, you got to work 14, 16, 18 hours a day. And, if you're not working on Christmas Eve, you're a loser. And it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that really how you want to live? And I'm like, dude, are you crazy? I want my business to serve me, not the other way
mm,
around. I don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
to live
yeah.
for my business. I want my business to exist to serve me and my lifestyle, my family, what I
Yes.
want to do. And again, the problem is going back to my example earlier, and this goes back to why I am able to help people make more in 12 weeks than I did in the previous 12 months, is once we get that framework together, then everything starts to fall into place so much more easily. I'll give you a quick
Mm,
example. One of my clients, named Shamisa, she's a business owner in Arizona. Now, she decided to join my 12-week breakthrough program, again, where I help people make more in 12 weeks than I did in the previous 12 months while winning their lives back at the same time.
hmm hmm
So she was very skeptical. In fact, she's a self-described seminar junkie, right? That's what because she was going to all these seminars, right?
Yeah,
She was
yeah,
doing well, she was doing six figures, but she kept hitting that income ceiling. She
yeah.
just couldn't break through. So she decided to join my 12-week breakthrough program. And in the first 2 weeks, she tripled her investment in 2 weeks. We hadn't even gotten to the money part yet, right? But what does that show you? It shows you that when you have a framework, then you can work less and make more. If you
hmm
keep slapping boards together, hoping a house shows up, it's probably not going to work out so well for you.
Yeah, and the irony, and I've learned this from experience. You've learned it from experience, and you've taught many, many people this. Is that when we talk about the fact that mindset is important in business, there's one aspect of it, but the other aspect is that if you're currently running and you're listening to this, you're running a six-figure business or a seven or eight-figure business, and you're bumping up against the ceiling. What you don't know what you don't know. And your limiting beliefs, your mindset tell you that you need to make more. And what I've seen, not just learned, experienced, but seen, is that some of the most wealthy people I know truly work less hours. They learn to leverage, they learn to do other things. And so it really is a shift. It's not as simple as just having the system. This is why I'm saying this, because I know with your system, it includes a lot of that mindset as well, and the destroying these limiting beliefs and things that you have. Because as you create more success, you will believe it more. But I really love that, and I feel like is there a single shift or a single mindset shift that you feel like is really needed to become that successful online or successful scalable entrepreneur? Is there I want to kind of give our listeners maybe a one thing that you feel like is the most important they can kind of focus in on.
Yeah, it really comes down to three words. And these three words, I've used them in my own life. I teach them to all my clients. And when you follow these three words, it really makes a big difference for you. And if you don't follow them, it really is going to hold you back. And that is money loves speed. Money loves
Mm,
speed. See, a big, big problem for many entrepreneurs is the fear of failure, which is perfectly natural, right? I mean, nobody wants to fail. It's like, it's very, very natural feeling. The problem is that millions of entrepreneurs are waiting for everything to be perfect. They're waiting for everything to be lined up. They're waiting for whatever they're waiting for.
yeah,
And the fact is, and I mean, many, many people have talked about this, is that you can never know everything.
yeah,
And that's the point. You can just never know. And Patton was famous for saying that an average plan executed today is better than a perfect plan executed tomorrow. And that's the
yeah.
point is money loves speed, meaning that I encourage my clients, whether, I'm coaching them one-on-one or, in group coaching, like the 12-week breakthrough, but I'm encouraging them to fail faster. I mean, and,
Yeah.
and this is what I tell all my clients is that 90% of the things that I've done over the last 27 years have failed. Literally
Mm.
90% have failed. But on that 10% that have succeeded, I've done pretty well. You know what I'm saying? So it's
You
like,
know
okay.
what?
And I say that on purpose so people go, oh, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I've learned that lesson as well because I am kind of a perfectionist. But what I've learned is that fear is the only reason you hold back because of that perfection type characteristic you have. But you can't create momentum. And the other thing is what the other lesson I've learned is that you only learn the most important lessons when you're failing and when you're doing. So you can't outthink it. You just have to reframe how you view, progress. And so I think that's huge. I think that's amazing. Now I know we don't necessarily in this call need to get through a lot of the details and strategies because I'm gonna make sure I put some links in, and one of the things I love is you always give away, $7, 8, $900 worth of free bonuses when people get your book. So there's a ton of content there. But give me some specific kind of like tactical or strategic things that you like to take people through, because I know we know it's so important mindset. We tend to kind of focus on that. When you're talking about your 7-figure machine, course, book, we'll talk about the book. We'll get them the book here. But give me something more kind of strategic, tactical that maybe there's things people can kind of be thinking about now or starting with in their business.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get the 7-figure machine book or online course, what I do is I walk you through really the 6 most important things that you need to do to create a 7-figure machine. And, it starts with my 7-figure offer secrets. Then I give you my 7-figure product secrets, my 7-figure cash machine secrets, my 7-figure list building secrets, my 7-figure client attraction secrets, and my 7-figure scaling secrets. All right. So I literally take you from step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this works for whether you're just starting out in business, whether you've been in business for a while, or whether you keep hitting that income ceiling, and you really want to break through to that next level. This really will help you. I'll give you a quick example of this.
Well, and I also want you to, if you wouldn't mind, comment on one thing, because you're right, but I think what people might have missed in that is this. It's not about the strategy and tactics, but listen to what that list is he just said of an offer, a list, clients. This is the steps that people need. Now, the devil's in the detail, right? You got to get all that. But I think that's a really, really good point that people are missing the steps, not just the tactics to do it, which they'll learn in the book, learn in the course and things, but the steps are critical. And it seems like you've got those outlined pretty comprehensively.
Well, I really do. Like I said, I wish somebody would have given this to me 25 years ago when I started. I'd be a gazillionaire by now. I guess I'm doing well, but man, this would have been nice to have back then, save me all that time, money, and pain and torture and torment.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to give you an example, I was talking with one of my clients and, which I do this with everybody, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching. And I asked him, his name's Charles. And I said, Charles, how much do you think it's going to cost you if we don't put this in place for you, in the next 12 months? And without batting an eye, he said $1 million. Noah, I'm easily going to lose out on $1 million if we don't get this in place. I said, first of all, I hear that all the time, Charles. People tell me every day, I'm losing out on $500,000, $1 million, $2 million a year or more, without these things in place. Number two, I said, I tell you what, why don't you just give me 10% of that million and I will find you an extra $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? Yeah, and he goes, obviously. Well, yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah. So he did that. He decided to hire me right on the spot. That's why I love working with high achievers, right? They make decisions quickly and firmly. So he decided to do it right there. He paid me $100K, which is 10% of $1 million, right? Yep. So he paid me that. And, he invested that money. I coached him one-on-one for a year. Now, as it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in just 10 months. So he gave me $1. I gave him $18 back. Is that a good? No, that's a great deal. And in fact, he sent me an email. He said, Noah, guess where I am? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. We just bought a new RV. He said, this is a dream I've had for years. I've always wanted to buy an RV, drive around the country with my wife, but I never had the time or the money. Now I have more money than I've ever had before, but even better, I have the time that I've always wanted. So that's what can happen when you put the 7-figure machine in place.
Yeah, I know we're kind of close to being out of time here, but the comment I guess I want to make for our listeners is this. The real point I want you to walk away from here is that it is possible to scale your business past where you are. Where you are, you got because of where you're at. You need to be able to, that's one of the reasons I'm a big proponent of mentoring and learning and growth, is that you don't know what you don't know, and you need to seek that out. And when you do, you'll realize that there are steps and systems that actually will simplify your life quite a bit. In fact, what I'm going to do, and by the way, I appreciate you spending time with us here today. I'm going to put in the show notes. Individuals can go to 7-figure, the number 7, right? 7-figure mentor or 7figuremachinebook.com. And I want you guys to go check it out because one of the things Noah does really well is, he puts in there details of what you'll get in the book. Like he page this. You'll see exactly what's in there. So it's not just about like we're not going to in a 20-minute podcast be able to share all this stuff, But if you go to sevenfigureMachineBook.com, you're not only going to see what's in there and you can decide if this is something that really can help you in your business, but there's just a ton of credibility, a ton of information. You've got, just hundreds and hundreds of dollars in free gifts as well. So I'm going to encourage, listeners, even readers, because we've got a lot of this stuff through our magazines and stuff now, to go to that. But let me just ask you before we leave, what is the best way for people to connect with you? Where is the best place for them to maybe engage or connect with you?
When you go to breakthroughwithnoah.com, very easy to
Okay.
remember. I'm known as the Breakthrough Coach. So
Okay.
it's breakthroughwithnoah.com. You can see some video training that I have there on the page at breakthroughwithnoah.com. And then you can actually book a breakthrough call with me or one of my
Oh,
coaches.
awesome.
You can also see some of the videos of, the case studies. Again, that's how you know it's a system, not a personality. It's not about my personality. It's about the system that works no matter who you are, as long as you take action. But yeah, that breakthroughwithnoah.com, that's the best way to get in touch. Watch the video, book a breakthrough call right there at breakthroughwithnoah.com.
Yeah, that's great. And like I said, listen, if you're listening to this, share the show, spread the message, because I think a lot of people are out there looking for options and resources. And, at the end of the day, I appreciate you being here, because I know in 20 minutes, it's hard to kind of cram a lot of information in, but sometimes it's those introductions, it's those couple of key thoughts, those things people hadn't thought about that help them take their life to the next level. And I believe, and I say it all the time, it's never too late to start living the life you were meant to live. Just because you want to scale your business or you haven't gotten where you want doesn't mean you can't increase your lifestyle while increasing your income. And so this is something that I feel will really help people out. So any other final thoughts before we take off here?
I just want people to know that I'll reiterate something I said earlier, which is money loves speed. Do not wait. Take action today. And by the way, I want to say one other thing, which is that everything you desire is on the other side of fear. If there's something you're scared of, if you're scared to take an action, whether it's hiring a coach or buying a book or whatever it might be, that's probably the very thing you need to do, because it's that fear that is in fact holding you back. And once you break through that fear, you'll realize it was all in your mind. It was on your head. But everything that you want, everything you desire is on the other side of that fear. So break through that fear and you will be amazed at the things that you can do.
I agree 100%. And I think sometimes you guys listening to this, it helps you to break through that fear when you're associating with people that can give you that belief. And I think Dr. Noah St. John can do that, as well as the Daily Masterminds. I've had a lot of experience with Noah, and I think you're going to learn a lot from him. So really check it out. I'll put some links in the show notes. And hopefully, if you're fortunate enough to be part of our academy and things like that, you'll see him again, because I'm going to bring him back into some deep dive sessions we're doing with events. And so once again, listen, share the show, do what you can, hit me up on the Daily Mastermind on Facebook or Instagram. Look forward to talking with you, and we'll look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. Have a great day.